I'd been at Redstone Analytics for nearly a decade, long enough to feel like part of the furniture, worn in, comfortable, even indispensable. As senior strategy lead, I designed 3 of our biggest product launches, negotiated partnerships with Fortune 500s, and even guided our merger last year that doubled our revenue overnight. I knew every crack in the floorboards, every whisper in the hallways, every back-channel workaround that kept our data center humming. So you can imagine my shock the morning I walked into my office and found my desk empty. No laptop, no notebook, no neatly framed photo of my 2 kids. Instead, there was a plain manila envelope on the bare desk and a post-it note stuck to the monitor. Meet me in my office, 9 a.m. sharp. Max. He was my boss's son, fresh out of his MBA program. All perfect tie knots and 0 practical experience. A nepotism hire, everyone joked. I'd met him once at a holiday party. He nodded politely when I introduced myself, then went back to talking blockchain with the CIO. But Max had arrived the previous week as associate director, allegedly to modernize things. The rumor mill whirred with speculation: automate our client services, spin up AI dashboards, scrap the old-school qualitative insights team, code for get rid of the lifers. I brushed it off. The company thrived on institutional memory. My institutional memory. Surely they wouldn't dare mess with that. I tucked the post-it in my notebook and straightened my tie. At 9 a.m., I tapped on his office door, a glass cube overlooking the bullpen, sunrise glinting off the high rises beyond. He looked up from his whiteboard, eyes tired but alert. He was younger than me by 8 years, 20-something with the freshness of someone who hadn't yet seen a single layoff. "Come in," he said. His voice was steady, practiced. I closed the door. "You wanted to see me, Max?" He gestured with a crisp nod. "Thanks for coming so promptly. Please sit." I slid into the chair across from him, trying to keep my expression neutral. My name tag caught the light. Samantha Ellis, Senior Strategy Lead. I knew then, despite my seniority, I was about to take a real test. Max cleared his throat. "Sam, may I call you Sam?" "Please," I said. He swallowed. "Sam, you know Redstone inside and out. We value your contributions. But today I'm going to make some changes. Effective immediately, I'm reassigning you. You'll no longer lead the North American product rollout. Instead, you'll head up our European market expansion team, based in London. Give it 6 months, we'll reassess." "Does that work?" My chest tightened. Europe was an exciting opportunity, most would say, but it wasn't what I'd signed up for. I'd just negotiated our biggest domestic partnership, launched our AI analytics suite, and had a cornerstone role in the upcoming IPO. Moving me to London told me I was being sidelined, an exile disguised as a promotion. I blinked. "Max, I appreciate the confidence, but why the sudden change? I thought the board was delighted with North America's performance, 25% growth last quarter, record renewals. Why pull me off that?" His gaze flicked to the whiteboard, where he'd scrawled buzzwords: optimize, scale, synergy. He sighed. "I need fresh eyes. The board wants to streamline client engagement, and I want someone who can implement my vision without legacy method interference. I'm installing my own team here, top college talent, lean, agile. So you'll take your expertise to Europe." I felt the floor tilt. "So out of North America?" He nodded. "Yes." I sat back. "Max, with all due respect, I'm not handing over the domestic launch just like that. It's 3 months from GA, the dev team is in final sprint, marketing assets locked. There's no room for disruption." He shifted. "I understand it's delicate, but the decision stands." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "You want me in London? Fine. I'll need relocation assistance, package adjustments, support team, and I'll expect a clear mandate to succeed, or I'm back in 3 months. He hesitated, then reached for a document on his desk. "Here are the details. Sign at the bottom, and we'll get HR on your package." He slid the papers across. I stared at the offer: 20% pay bump, full relocation, office in the city, but lacking any guarantee of future leadership in North America. It was a poisoned chalice. I looked up. "Max, I need to think." He nodded briskly. "Of course, let's discuss further tomorrow." He stood. "Thanks, Sam." I followed him to the door, then caught his arm. "Max, one more thing." He paused. "Let's say I don't sign. What happens then?" He met my gaze squarely. "Then, HR will have to find someone else to lead North America, and we'll discuss other roles that better fit your new focus areas." I felt my jaw clench. He was firing me, just not explicitly. Sidetracked to London, stripped from my territory and team. A demotion in disguise. I nodded. "Let go. Thank you." He closed the door, leaving me with an offer I couldn't accept, and no clear future. That afternoon, I watched from the glass-walled break room as the North America product team filed into the conference room for the handoff. I knew the scripts by heart. Sam will be transitioning you to Europe. Please address all questions to Derek now. My colleague Derek, a capable but junior manager, hovered at the door, ready to inherit the chaos. Watching that handoff was like seeing a guillotine drop its blade. Swift, silent, indisputable. My phone buzzed. A text from my husband, Greg. Big meeting about tomorrow's regional launch at 3. I typed back, call you in a bit. My personal life already felt second class. At 3, I walked into the North America war room, long oval table, 24 laptops, 3 enormous screens showing dashboards. The walls were plastered with post-its. Phase 2 roadmap, legal sign-offs, executive brief. I forced a polite wave and sat in my corner. No one looked at me, or if they did, pity flickered in their eyes. Derek stood and cleared his throat. Team, Sam's moving to London, so I'll be taking over. Let's review where we stand with GA testing. He clicked to the first slide. The room plunged into bullet point land, but my mind raced elsewhere. Because this story wasn't over. I'd been at Redstone for 8 years. I'd nurtured these products like children. I'd built trust with clients, taught sales to pitch our edge, negotiated with vendors to keep costs lean. I wasn't going to be bundled off to Europe for window dressing. I had a card up my sleeve, one Max didn't even know I held. That evening, at my dining table under soft kitchen lights, I pulled out my files on Redstone's investors, particularly the 2 venture funds that held 35% of our Series E shares and had been quietly pushing for a sale or IPO. A month ago, I'd had dinner with one of their partners, Carla Mendez, to binge-watch ASL dramas and talk about corporate governance. I'd let slip that I was worried about succession, whether Redstone would lose its soul under new leadership. Carla listened, intrigued. She'd asked, if you weren't leading North America, who would? I'd named Derek, leaving out the nepotism angle. She'd furrowed her brow, then added me to the next advisory board meeting agenda, discreetly, but added me. So now, I had calls to make. I dialed Carla's direct line. Sam, she said, surprise edging her tone. How are you? Carla, I need your help, I said, voice low. I just met with Marcus. He's reassigning me to London, cutting me out of North America. GA launch is 3 days away. You know how sensitive investors are about management continuity. She let out a breath. That's news to me. Why would Marcus do that? Because he's inexperienced. Wants to install his own people. But it jeopardizes the launch. I have to stay. Carla paused. I see. Let's schedule a call with the board. If you're the linchpin for North America's success, pushing you out that way is a breach of fiduciary duty. They think Marcus's nephew can run a global footprint. I smiled grimly. Exactly. She cleared her throat. All right. Tomorrow I'll push for an emergency board meeting. I'll need your side of the story, data on your impact, client references, maybe even some letters from partners on how critical you are. Done, I said. Thank you. That night, I drafted up my impact report, 8 pages of bulletproof evidence, revenue growth charts, client testimonials, signed contract amendments, email threads praising my leadership. I compiled ASL video snippets of me leading workshops, snippets of leadership acknowledgements, my GM-level bonus documents, all compiled into a sleek PDF. I even scanned my Gallaudet diploma and invited the Diversity and Inclusion Officer to sign a letter praising my role in accessibility initiatives that had opened $10 million in new markets. At midnight, I emailed Carla, impactreport.pdf attached. Let me know when the board meets. I exhaled, relief and adrenaline mingling. Marcus had gambled on nepotism. I'd play the corporate game with the real shareholders. By morning, the board would be asking serious questions. The next day, I breezed into the building at 8:30 a.m., badge still lit. The receptionist gave me a conspiratorial wink. Board meeting in Conference B at 10. I nodded. I felt like a spy on a mission. I ducked into the war room first, briefed Derek on handing over my notes, then headed to Conference B. As I approached, I saw Carla in the seat of honor at the head of the table. A rarity for her. I slipped in beside her, felt the eyes of the entire board on me. The 2 venture partners, the CFO, head of legal, head of sales, and most importantly, Peter Jansen, the longtime chairman and investor. Carla tapped her pen. Thank you all for coming on short notice. We have an urgent governance concern. The reassignment of Samantha Ellis from Senior Strategy Lead for North America to Head of European Markets, which jeopardizes our upcoming product launch. Miss Ellis, would you summarize? I stood, heart calm. I presented my case, GA launch metrics, contingency risk analysis, customer contract clauses, investor covenant risks, and the board's fiduciary duty to ensure continuity. I detailed how my forced reassignment would cost us at least $5 million in deferred revenue, risk 3 major client renewals, and violate investor covenants requiring stable leadership. And all to install a greenhorn with no domain knowledge. Some heads nodded, others shifted uncomfortably. Marcus entered, glancing at the table. What's this? Peter fixed him with a look. Marcus, have a seat. We're discussing your latest personnel decision. Marcus lagged to the table, face white. Carla continued. We need immediate reversal of Miss Ellis's reassignment. Her skills and relationships are mission critical. We'll approve her London role in 6 months, post-launch, but she must stay in North America through GA. Marcus stammered. Board, this was my decision. It's in the company's best interest and innovation. Peter raised a hand. We respect your role, Marcus, but you overstepped. The board just held a unanimous vote. Samantha remains Senior Strategy Lead North America. Executive Committee will review any further assignments. He paused. Do you understand? Marcus swallowed. Yes, sir. I sat down, breathing again. The room exhaled too. Carla clapped once. The meeting adjourned. Investors murmured congratulations. I collected my files, shaking hands all around. On my way out, Marcus caught my arm. Ellis, thanks for reminding me of your value. His voice was small. I smirked. Happy to help. Back at my desk, I found an email from Lily Zhao, our head of customer success. Congrats on surviving the gauntlet. The NDF deal closed while you were away. $2.1 million contract extension. They insisted I thank you for negotiating the ASL embed. I smiled, opened the attachment, a signed press release touting my leadership. At 6 p.m., I rode my bike under a pink sky, reflecting on the day. I'd gone from exile to essential, from ousted to reinstated, all because I knew who held the real power. The shareholders, the clients, the language of trust I'd built over 8 years. I unlocked my front door, waved at my husband, rescued the kids from the swing set, and hugged them tight. Tonight, dinner could wait. We'd celebrate victory and promise of a secure tomorrow, because next week I'd head to London, yes, on my own terms, with a global charter, double the vision, and the knowledge that firing me once risked everything. But firing me twice, now that would truly shake the world. I'll continue with part 2. It'll pick up immediately after the boardroom showdown and carry through the fallout, London transition, and the personal reckonings that follow, full of the intrigue, dialogue, and emotional resonance you're looking for. Here's part 2. I woke to the muted hum of my alarm at 5:30 a.m. London time, jet-lagged, disoriented, but exhilarated. My phone lay on the bedside table beside a steaming green tea Mom had shipped me plus a scone tucked under the lid. The morning light slanted through the blackout curtains of my new serviced flat in Shoreditch, a melange of reclaimed wood, an exposed brick that felt miles away from Redstone's high-rise glass towers. I peeled back the covers and cradled the phone, reading a string of congratulatory texts from colleagues back in New York. Sam, you rock. Heard the board reversed. Knew it would happen. NDF launch is live. We've had 1,200 signups in 24 hours. Derek says thank you. He's ready to step into your shoes. My chest tightened. The NDF launch, yes. While I delivered the boardroom coup, my team had raced ahead on the product rollout. NDF's clients on the West Coast had gone live at midnight, and the servers had hummed through the first volume with 0 errors. Customer success was raving, and it was all thanks to the trust and the trap that led to my reinstatement. I sipped my tea and dressed for a brisk walk to the local gym. As I laced my trainers, I thought back to that pivotal minute in the boardroom when the chairman uttered a unanimous vote. That single phrase had undone years of corporate inertia, nepotism, and muddled priorities. I emerged into Shoreditch's morning bustle, street art, bearded baristas, cargo bike couriers. The people here prized ingenuity over pedigree. It felt refreshing. 1. Cementing the win back at the Redstone London office, an airy co-working space we'd leased for 6 months, I convened with the European launch team. Annie, our London account director, had pulled together coffee cups, croissants, and a whiteboard already full of metrics. Pilot hospitals signed, integration milestones, local compliance checks. I cleared my throat. Thank you all for yesterday's update. I know it's been a whirlwind. We've got 2 weeks to go live with NDF UK. Let's talk deliverables. Annie nodded. We have 3 pilot sites ready, regulatory clearances in progress, and local ASL interpreters on retainer for user training. I grinned. Excellent. Let's add 2 more. A patient advocacy group in Manchester and our first NHS trust in Cardiff. The more we weave into localized networks, the stickier we become. We sketched out responsibilities. I felt grounded again, leading, shaping strategy, turning the upheaval into global momentum. 2. The aftermath at Redstone HQ. Meanwhile, back in New York, the drama I'd set in motion rippled through the company's halls. I caught live feeds during calls. The CTO sent out a company-wide email. Congratulations to Sam Ellis, our newly confirmed Senior Strategy Lead North America. Expect the full NDF rollout playbook by end of today. HR scrambled to restore my relocation package, visa appointments, extended housing stipend, even a small welcome bonus. The chairman released a shareholder newsletter. Today's board decision ensures leadership stability. Sam Ellis's expertise is vital to our continued growth. HR's head, Marlene, texted me on WhatsApp. All set here, client greets, housing, flights for Q1 all confirmed. Welcome back, Sam. I smiled, a comfort I never expected. 3. Personal reckonings that weekend. I FaceTimed with Dad and Mom back in Virginia. They beamed at me from the Chesapeake Bay cottage. Dad's beard had gone gray, but his eyes still twinkled. You single-handedly saved the day, Dad said, pride vibrating through the screen. We're so proud, Sam. Mom dabbed her eyes. Your grandmother would have been proud too, her grit, her love for striking the right chord. She tapped a family Bible. Your trap was brilliant, but I hope you'll forgive us for thinking you needed to prove yourself. I exhaled. I forgive you. But never underestimate a wolf who signs. I grinned. Mom laughed. Dad rumbled a chuckle. I felt the bond of generations, a lineage of deaf leaders and entrepreneurs who made the world listen. I turned off the call, staring at the ceiling. My family's pride meant everything, but so did reshaping Redstone's priorities toward real accessibility. 4. Scaling Up Monday arrived, with an all-hands Zoom from Marcus himself, this time genuine warmth in his tone. Team, I owe you an apology and a thank you. Yesterday's board vote was a turning point. We're doubling down on diagnostics AI across all APAC markets next quarter, with Sam leading the charge. He paused, eyes searching. Sam, welcome to London officially. We're lucky to have you. I nodded, signing thank you in ASL on camera, then switched to English. Let's make it count. The applause button lit up my screen. 5. The New Frontier by Q1. We'd secured NDF partnerships in Germany and Japan. I flew to Tokyo, first time experiencing how Japanese Sign Language integrated with our platform's model. I led a 3-day hackathon in Osaka, training local engineers on our ASL adapted module and co-hosting joint demos with JPNFDN, Japan's Deaf Federation. Local news outlets covered it. Solistech's AI platform expands accessibility worldwide. I scanned photos of me signing at podiums, flanked by interpreters in the host country's sign language, trailing long lines of reporters trying to capture my next quote. 6. Looking back 6 months later, I sat at my desk in the London office, now filled with local artifacts, a miniature red post box, a stack of hand-knit scarves, a sign reading accessibility is everyone's business. My phone chimed a LinkedIn article ranking me among the top 10 global pioneers in tech accessibility. I tapped back a reply. Thank you for the mention. Then I blinked. From fired to global strategist in less than a year, an ode to the trap I set and to the power of knowing whose real keys unlock change. I scrolled further. Messages from deaf advocates in Brazil, Australia, South Africa, asking for meetings, pilot programs. The world was opening, and I was ready. I leaned back, exhaled. My boss's son had thought he could sideline me on day one. Instead, he launched me onto a global stage. He'd learned that firing the only one who signs doesn't silence a movement, it amplifies it exponentially. I tapped open a new Zoom window for a call with the Cape Town Foundation. As I signed the greeting in South African Sign Language, my laptop's avatar translating in real time, I realized that the trap I set was more than defense. It was a springboard from near defeat to boundless opportunity. And as long as I held the map of accessibility, I'd keep shaking the world. Because you can't silence someone who carries their language in their bones and in their code. And sometimes the first shock is all you need to spark a revolution.